Liam Rosenior speaking to talkSPORT there after that late loss against Arsenal. 4-2 on aggregate, Arsenal through to the final. Kweku, there's been some quite a big fallout for my money for the way Chelsea set up. Paul Merson in particular on Sky was scathing of Chelsea, saying that essentially they were far too conservative, only looked to go sort of really push on at the end of the game. Do you think that it's a fair criticism for him?
I understand the criticism. I think people have gone overboard with it. My viewpoint on it is I understood the tactics in the first half. I wasn't expecting it, but I understood it in the first half. Chelsea, well, a goal down on aggregate, going to the Emirates against what people call them the best team in Europe. If Chelsea go and have a go, odds are, if we have a go and they have a go, they're going to get the better of us and score a goal. And we'll be 2 goals down on aggregate. So I think the goal from Rosenior was to keep it tight and keep it level until half-time. And people compare it to the Manchester United game, going, but United came to the Emirates and gave it a go and beat us. But United were allowed the fortune of going a goal down. If Chelsea go a goal down in that game, they're 2 goals down and tight, and it's done. United could go a goal down, it's only 1 goal in the night, and they've got the chance to come back. So the goal was to keep it tight first half and go for it in the second half. My one criticism is that the changes should have come earlier.
Yeah.
He brought on Esteval and Cole Palmer in the 60th minute. That should have come at half-time, because you allow Arsenal, if you make those changes in the 60th minute, you allow Arsenal 15 minutes in the second half to settle in and to not even regroup, but just kind of find a rhythm of defending and not having to do much. And so that's my one criticism, but I'm not too scathing in terms of the setup. I understand what he was going for. What makes it even worse is, or what makes it worse is the fact that Arsenal went and got the winner, and it was Kai Havertz who got the winner.
Yeah.
If that game ends 0-0, I think people are just like, oh well, they came to make life difficult for Arsenal. They couldn't really break through. I do think he's a little bit handicapped, and I think this is an issue that Enzo Maresca had as well. Reece James wasn't in the squad. And after the game, he was asked about it. He goes, no, he's fine. It's just rotation. The medical team at Chelsea have a huge say in terms of who the manager selects. And Reece James wasn't carrying an injury, is not injured, will play on the weekend, but wasn't even in the squad for the game against Arsenal, semi-final of a cup. Cole Palmer and Esteval on the bench. Cole Palmer's not in the starting 11 for a game that you have to win. Clearly, that's not the manager's decision. Clearly, that's a decision that is being influenced by people above him or around him. And so if that was to happen again, say Chelsea and Arsenal make it all the way to the Champions League semi-final, the first leg would be at Stamford Bridge, the second leg would be at the Emirates. Say Chelsea 1 goal down, the difference between that and what we saw midweek is that Cole Palmer, Reece James and Esteval start that game. It'll be a very different circumstance. So I think his hands were tied in terms of the players he could select, and he went with an interesting formation that didn't work ultimately because Chelsea lost the game. But I don't hate it as much as most people.
I didn't know that about Chelsea, that the medical staff almost have greater authority when it comes to player selection than the head coach.
Yeah, if you read through a lot of the stuff that Maresca was saying towards the end, it was pure frustration at the fact that he couldn't pick his best team week in and week out. And we all watched the Leeds game together when we had the talkSPORT 2 social, and Reece James didn't play that game. Reece James didn't play against Leeds because he played against Arsenal the week before, or a few days before. And so that's been a big issue.
Do you think that's a contractual thing for both Maresca and Rosenior, that ultimately they're told if the head physio, chief physio says this player's not, you shouldn't play this player because of resting minutes or whatever, then you cannot pick him? I can't
confirm.
I just think, imagine like Cloughy or Fergie being told that.
Yeah.
They'd be like, you're out the door, son.
But Cloughy and Fergie were managers. These guys are head coaches. And I'm not saying it's contractual. I can't confirm or deny that. But I would say that it's definitely a fact that
part of the culture.
It's part of the culture there. It's maintaining and preserving players. Because like, it is mad. Cole Palmer, who we're being told is fully fit, didn't start against Arsenal in the semi-final second leg of a cup, and didn't start against Napoli in the final group game of the Champions League, which we needed to win. Those are 2 must-win games, and he doesn't start those games. And so, yeah, there is definitely something going on that is, that's a little bit funny at Chelsea. And Chelsea fans are picking up on it and obviously frustrated. When you go into the Emirates and your captain, you're effectively one of your best players, isn't even in the squad, and then you're being told he's not injured. It's a bit bizarre. And so that's, people can mock Chelsea and credit Arsenal because Arsenal got the job done, but I think that we've seen when these 2 teams have got their best players available, it's a lot closer than what we saw midweek.
You had some quite strong words when Rosenior was appointed.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about him now?
it's a results-dependent business. I know later on in the show we're going to talk about a manager and Arne Slot who doesn't think the results are the most important thing in football, but they are. And the reason why stances have softened towards Rosenior amongst Chelsea fans is because he's won 6 out of his 8 games as Chelsea manager across 4 different competitions. Beaten Napoli, who hadn't lost at home since 2024. Winning the game against Brentford, who were flying high at home, a game we didn't deserve to win, but we won. And so I have softened my stance on him. I still don't know if he's the man that's going to lead us to glory. But what is the point of football if I'm going to sit here and he's winning games and I'm still going to criticise him? I want him to win games. I want him to be successful. And so I can just base my opinion on the information I have presented. Before he came in, did he deserve the Chelsea job? No. Do I think he deserves the Chelsea job now? No. But if he gets results, I'll be happy. It's the same as Arteta at Arsenal. Did he deserve the Arsenal job? No, but he got it.
I understood where you were coming from when you said, I think it was, tell me if I'm wrong, that like your club is a charity because they're giving a job to somebody that doesn't necessarily have the credentials, and I can totally understand the validity in that. But ultimately, I quite like him. Like, I'm rooting for him. I know that he's cringe FC, and I know that sort of man age stuff is sort of. I get the LinkedIn Liam stuff, but I think he speaks from the right place. I think he makes sense. I was really interested by him when he was a pundit. And ultimately, he's a young British manager who's been given an opportunity, which very rarely happens in this country at one of the biggest clubs, and it happens more on the continent. And that's why I think there's this clamour from English clubs to get your Ruben Amorims, who's turned out to be a dud, but because he had the credentials from a younger age. And I think that the big clubs in this country need to be more willing to do that. I like the fact that Eddie Howe's got the Newcastle job. I like the fact, and I know that it's probably not going to go on for long, but I like the fact that Bluco got Liam Rosenior in. And I really hope that he does well, and I'm rooting for him. So I just think maybe and this isn't about your comments, and I understand where your comments from, but now he's been in the job and he's done well. Just like give the guy a break and let's root for him. Just generally, football fans.
100%. And a video went out on the talkSPORT YouTube channel on me of this show saying that basically I think that Chelsea can win the Champions League. I said can. The caption obviously said. Kweku said will, but that's for another.
That's another ticket for the social media department.
100%. But like, I look at this Chelsea team, and I will say it again. Our ceiling is as high as the best teams in the world. Our floor is as low as teams that finish 15th and 16th in the Premier League. Like, I've seen us beat the champions of England, the champions of Spain in Barcelona, the champions of Italy in Napoli. I've seen us beat the best teams in the world. I've seen us go to the Etihad with Callum McFarlane as our interim manager and get a draw against City. I've seen us draw against Arsenal at Stamford Bridge, down to 10 men after 30 minutes. I've seen us beat PSG. This has all come within the last 8 months. I've also seen us have some shocking results, losing at home against Brighton and Sunderland.
Away at Leeds.
And so I do think that in the Champions League, let's just watch this space, because I've seen worse Chelsea teams than this win the Champions League. And it's a cup competition. And in terms of our history, some of our greatest successes come when we get rid of the manager partway through the season. First time made Champions League final, we sack Scolari, bring in Avram Grant, we make Champions League final. If not for John Terry slip, we win it in Moscow. In 2012, we sack AVB. We bring in Di Matteo. We win the Champions League. In 2021, we sack Frank Lampard. We bring in Thomas Tuchel. We win the Champions League. And when I look at Chelsea in cup competitions, I'm confident. I am confident. And no one in Champions
Tuesday night.
Apart from Tuesday night. But again,
I mean, look, Quake, I was going to ask you, what's a good season for Chelsea? You're obviously going to say winning something.
Yeah.
So I'm going to change my question. What does Liam Rosenior need to do to keep his job? And I'm not saying because he's under pressure he's going to get the sack, but he works for, ultimately people that are willing to change. And as we've said at the top of the show, there's going to be a lot of world-class managers available after the World Cup. And I don't think that Chelsea would hesitate to bring in a bigger name or more experienced name. So what does Liam Rosenior need to do to prove that he's got another season in him?
For me, win a trophy. So if he doesn't, you happy for him to go? Well, some fans will be happy finishing in the top 4, and if he finishes in the top 4, I'd say he's done a decent job, or top 5, qualifies for the Champions League. But I watch football for the glory. Finishing in the top 4, top 5 is not a trophy. It's not a trophy. I've never viewed it as a trophy. And the carrot that you get, or the reward you get for finishing in the top 4, top 5, is that your club can attract the biggest players in the world. This model has shown us that we are not going to go for those players. We are just lining the pockets of these billionaires. I don't care about finishing in the top 4, top 5. I care about winning silverware, whether that's the FA Cup or the Champions League. If he delivers silverware in his first season, it will buy him a lot of time. Let's not underestimate what finishing 8th but winning the FA Cup in his first season did for Arteta. It allowed him to finish 8th and then 5th the following seasons. This is Arsenal, finishing 8th, 5th. But he won the FA Cup and it bought him time. If Rosenior wins the FA Cup, or like if everything goes to plan and wins the Champions League, he will be given a lot of time.
Just on Cole Palmer quickly, because bizarrely not starting. I heard one of our colleagues who will remain nameless, we went down to get some food, and said he takes Rodgers, Bellingham and Foden ahead of Cole Palmer to the World Cup. Do you think that it's justified if Thomas Tuchel decides not to bring him?
Yeah, he's the England manager. He can make the decisions that he wants to make. And based on this season, Cole Palmer maybe doesn't deserve to go to the World Cup. Ability-wise, I think only Jude Bellingham is better than him. I think he's a better player than Morgan Rodgers. I think he's a better player than Phil Foden. But if you're not fit, you're not it. The best ability is availability. And he's not been available. And it's not like a Bukayo Saka on the right-hand side where England have got limited options and Saka goes no matter what form he's in or no matter how fit he is. At the number 10 position, we are blessed with some of the best players in Europe. Like, there's a conversation about Phil Foden not going, about Jude Bellingham maybe not going. So, yeah, I think it's justified to have those conversations. I'm a Chelsea fan. I've seen the best of Cole Palmer. You've got to take him. We've seen him come off the bench in the Euros final and score a goal. We see him score a brace against PSG in the Club World Cup final. See him come off the bench in the final of the Conference League and create 2 goals. He's a man for the big occasions.
Of those 4, Bellingham, Rodgers, Foden, Palmer, which one are you dropping for the World Cup squad?
Foden.
I'd agree.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you'll say rank them?
In terms of starting or form?
Starting for England.
Bellingham, Palmer, Rodgers.
Palmer ahead of Rodgers?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I just think he's a better player. And I think he performs on a big stage. He showed that in the Euros final. Yeah. And he's still got the back end of a season to go and win an FA Cup, win a Champions League, get Chelsea into the top 3. So I don't think, form is temporary, class is permanent.
I know we have to break, but really quickly, have you got a problem in that number 10 position? Bellingham's out injured. Phil Foden has struggled with injuries and form this season. Yeah. Rodgers has kind of tailed off a little bit in recent weeks, and Cole Palmer's been in and out of the team because of injuries.
I think and Eze's out of form.
Out of form as well.
I think Thomas Tuchel's made a real rod for his own back in trying to create an example out of Jude Bellingham and not picking him for that because he was injured, not bringing him into camp. And now he's got that injury, and there's a very good chance he won't be fit for the next camp, and then he has to pick his squad. And so I think Thomas Tuchel has made a huge rod for his own back. I think he's allowed Jude Bellingham to become the scapegoat, and it's one of the only things I don't like about what Thomas Tuchel has done with this England squad, because I think in every other department it's looking really healthy. But because of that, you've been... and you've also had, Cole Palmer out injured. I think he's leaving himself thin. And if he'd have allowed Jude Bellingham to be the man that he is, to be the big character, the competitive winner that he is, and be in all of those camps, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But I think rightly you're bringing it up. I'm concerned because what happens if Bellingham gets another injury, reoccurring hamstring injury? All you've essentially got is Morgan Rodgers, who's had any decent consistency.
Yeah. I agree.
It's concerning. Right, you're listening to The Social on talkSPORT 2. Next up, we'll check in with our mates at William Hill.